Good evening. I'd like to welcome you to Advanced Rheumatology and Wellness Center. This evening we're going to be preparing a quinoa salad with roasted sweet potatoes, spinach. We're going to put a dressing over that, and quinoa. I don't know how many people have ever made quinoa, but it is a very nutritious, super grain. So I prepared some of the things ahead of time to make it a lot easier for us. I'm going to try to get this to come to boil. I think it will. We're going to make about a cup of this. Is that on high or am I on minimum? There's max. Okay. So in this pot, I have 2 cups, approximately 2 cups of chicken broth, organic chicken broth. You can use plain water, but I chose to use chicken broth. It gives a little more flavor. And to this, I'm going to add 1 cup of quinoa, okay? We're going to bring this to a boil and then turn it down to a simmer, okay? Now, if you notice, this is organic quinoa and it also has been rinsed. Okay, so when you're buying or purchasing your quinoa, look for it that it says it's washed and rinsed, because there's a coating on quinoa itself that is extremely bitter, and if you don't get that off of there, you will never eat it again. It's very, it's bitter. It's really bad. Actually, I guess the Lord made it so that birds wouldn't eat it. It's a protective covering on the quinoa itself, so we have to rinse that off. And there's different kinds. This is the traditional quinoa, and then I have also prepared for us this evening, it's the Harmony quinoa. There's all different kinds of just white and black and red quinoa. So there's no difference in the nutrition, in the colors of the quinoa. You can buy it, they're going to be the same. It's just kind of more colorful. Okay, so let's stir this up here. And that will absorb, hopefully. This is our first time using this, so we'll get this going and see what happens. It takes about 15 minutes at a good simmer after you get it to boil to cook. So we'll check on that later. So with our recipe, we're going to start with our first thing that we're going to make is the dressing, okay? So we're going to have 2 tablespoons of white wine vinegar. Okay. And to that, we're going to add 1/2 tablespoon of Dijon mustard. Dijon mustard is different because it's made with wine. You don't want to substitute this, okay, for yellow mustard or honey mustard or anything like that. You want to definitely use, and I only have this to measure, so we'll just put about that much in. Okay, 1 tablespoon of honey. Honey makes everything better. This honey is starting to crystallize. You can always tell if honey actually is good because it does crystallize as it gets a little bit older and colder, it will crystallize. That's telling me that it's real. So if your honey is crystallized at home, you can get it and put it into, I wouldn't put it in a microwave, it'll melt. If it's plastic, you can put it into a bowl, a pot of water. Okay, that's coming along good. A pot of water on the stove and it will turn back to the way it was. Okay, and to that we're going to add a little bit of spices. We have some dried oregano. We have the juice of 1 lemon. Now, tonight when we do this, we're not going to use all of the dressing. We're just going to dress it up a little bit, so you'll have some leftovers, okay? We're going to add 1/2 cup of olive oil, but we're going to put that in last. Let's add our sea salt and our salt and pepper. And I'm going to kind of drizzle that in and whisk it into, it's kind of emulsifying. Okay, so that's our salt and our pepper and our lemon, oregano, honey. Okay, so you can take a look. this looks like. I'm gonna whisk this up a little bit, and then we'll add the oil to it. The honey, and then you have the tartness of the lemon and the vinegar. It's kind of a savory dish, okay? And then we're going to measure out a half a cup of olive oil. Okay, I'm just going to kind of drizzle this in while I give it a good whisk. Okay, and I'll whisk this up a little more. Now, this is quite a bit of dressing. You're not going to use very much of this at all. So you'll have plenty. You can put it on a regular salad, or you can make more quinoa. You can put it in the refrigerator. Probably lasts about 2 weeks in the refrigerator. Okay? So ahead of time, I prepared 2 sweet potatoes. I baked them in the oven, as you can see, at 425. Now, it's saying about 15 minutes, but it took a little longer than that. You want it to kind of be, they're not like mushy, but you can stick a knife in them, okay? Everybody likes sweet potatoes. They're so good for you. And whenever you make these, you're supposed to put garlic on them. I didn't do that last night. I'm going to add some garlic powder now because it would be too strong, I think, to sit overnight. So we're going to add our sweet potatoes. And you can see we roasted those in some olive oil. You can see the olive oil coats them a little bit, okay? And we're going to throw a little bit of garlic powder in there. As soon as I find what I did with it, here, right in front of me. I'm just going to sprinkle this with some garlic powder. I think our recipe tells us that we need about half a teaspoon, so that's good enough. If you're making them at home, when you roast them, add the garlic powder as you're roasting them. You're going to want them to be cooled down to make your salad, okay? All right, the next thing we're going to add to this would be, let's check this out over here first, though. See how our quinoa's doing. It's coming along. Okay. And we're going to add a little bit of chopped onion. I used red onion for this. And then we're going to chop. It says now, I don't know what a couple handfuls is. A couple handfuls of spinach is going to go in this as well. And then our quinoa. And then we'll dress it with the dressing. Those are really oniony onions. Okay. You can use regular spinach. This is baby spinach. I'm just going to give it a rough chop. Okay, and this is about 1 handful. We're going to do 2 handfuls of spinach. Now you could serve this on the side, and this evening when that quinoa's done, we're just going to take some and we're going to butter it. A lot of people use quinoa as a rice substitute, and you'll see when it cooks up that it does look a little like rice actually too. Okay, so we've added the spinach. Now I already cooked some quinoa. This was the multicolored quinoa that I already cooked up. This was 1 cup that I cooked, so it makes about 2 cups. So you can take a look, see how it is. It's kind of, it opens up, it's like a seed almost like, and it opens up. Compared to, if you look at the quinoa that's in here, it's almost like a seed. Okay, And this was prepared with the 2 cups of chicken broth as well. Okay. Guess I'll just, and then we're going to take some of that dressing. We'll whisk it up again, and we're going to add a little bit to this. And that's all it takes. Once again, everything is cool, so we don't want to really do anything hot. You want to kind of make it up ahead of time and do that. So I'm going to drizzle some of this over this. Maybe about half of it, okay? Well, actually, that was probably a little more than half, but quinoa can be a little bit sensitive, people's digestive system, so you don't really want to start off like, because it's so full of fiber, you want to kind of start slow with quinoa. You don't want to eat like cups at a time or half a cup even serving. You want to have like small amounts of it to see how your digestive system works with quinoa. Once we've got it all together, we're going to garnish it with 1/3 cup of dried cranberries. Well, these are the almonds. 1/3 cup of almonds and 1/3 cup of dried cranberries. Okay, we're going to stir this up. And that kind of makes it sweet and savory. And very healthy for you. Okay, and this is our, if you really wanted to, you could probably stick a little bit of these just to garnish on the top too. That's pretty. And maybe in a fancier bowl or something like that, but that is our finished product. Thank you for watching our video. This evening we prepared quinoa with roasted sweet potatoes and spinach. And remember, a healthy outside starts from the inside.